Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. The show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, December 17th, 2016. This is episode 1349. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage process into the 21st century with a fast, easy, and completely online process. Check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/techguy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk about computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, virtual reality, election hacking, all of that. Hacking in general. 8888 Ask Leo, that's my phone number. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you can still use Skype and reach us from anywhere in the world. And we have listeners all over the world. Just Skype that number, 888-827-5536. Call the land of the polar vortex. It's even chilly here in California. We got below freezing. Ice was on the pumpkin. So let's see what's been happening. Oh, well, more and more the drumbeat on the Russians hacking the election. I'd like to know more about this because the hacking they did, as at least what we know about so far, seems kind of minor league hacking, like the kind of hacking that happens to people all the time with ransomware and stuff. I guess John Podesta, the Clinton chairman at the Democratic National Committee, opened a spam email. Apparently, I don't know if it was him or a staffer, although I think the latest is it was him. And, because they spearfish. This is what happened at Sony Pictures Entertainment, too. They spearfish, which means targeted phishing emails that, we get all the time. Your bank or your friend or whatever says, oh, quick, do something, log in because you're in trouble. And then it turns out it was a phishing attack, and it compromised your system. And once your system is compromised, it can compromise the network, and that's how Sony got hacked. Apparently, that's how the DNC got hacked, and maybe others. Apparently, the latest is that the EAC got hacked. This is the Election Assistance Commission, which is responsible for testing and certifying voting systems. Great. They apparently had a potential intrusion, although they're not saying who it was. I feel like we need to know more, because if the whole story is that they got spam and then all the emails were released to WikiLeaks and that was what threw the election. Well, the same thing happened to Sony, right? We didn't go around saying, "Oh, North Korea is trying to disrupt our economy." Well, maybe we did. I'd like to know more. I guess that's what we want to know. What else did they do? If it's spearphishing email, well, that's an interesting question. Do you blame the victim if you get bit? I wouldn't blame you if you got bit. If you got a phishing attack and opened the email, I would. Well, I maybe blame you a little bit because we've said it over and over again, and maybe I should say it again. Don't open email attachments. Don't click links from strangers or even from what appears to be friends. Those links can take you to a modified website with malware on it. You should only, if your bank sends you an urgent email saying your account has been hacked, we think please come and log in. Don't click the link in the email, but enter your bank's URL yourself, from your browser, using a browser bookmark or even by hand, typing it in, Bank of America, and logging in there. And if it's real, well, you'll get there and there'll be a message there too, right? But if it's not real, then you've just avoided giving some bad guy your banking login and password. And that's the whole idea of these attacks. Now, how much do I blame you if you get bit? not a lot. Everybody seems to get bit these days. You got to pay attention. Nowadays, you kind of have to be a security expert if you're going to use a computer. It's why I tell a lot of people you should be using a Chromebook or an iPad. But I guess, if you're running a national election, you need to use a real computer. So then the burden's on you and your staff to lock it down. But I wouldn't be the first to throw a stone. I mean, because I know for one thing, the minute I say, well, he should have known better, somebody's going to hack my office. Right? I mean, we do run, and we have a very good IT guy, and I hope you have a very good IT guy, and he knows what he's doing. And we run threat protection hardware, actual physical hardware firewalls from Sophos, the old Astaro firewalls, which we've used for years, and we got new ones from Sophos once they bought Astaro, and they sit there and they scan everything that comes into our network, an internal network, including email, for potential threats, and rejects those, blocks those attachments and so forth. I think it does a good job. I'll ask Russell. But you wonder why, the Democratic National Committee and Sony Pictures Entertainment, well, we know why Sony didn't, because we've seen the emails, the leaked emails, in which they said, security, too expensive. Too expensive. Who would want to hack us? Well, maybe the North Korean government, apparently, but too expensive. So if you turn your back on security, well then, I guess I can blame you. I don't like blaming victims. It's a terrible thing to get bit by this kind of stuff, by ransomware and so forth. But at the same time, if you're going to use a Windows machine or a Mac machine or an Android or iOS device, you should be paying. This is the burden that's on you. You need to kind of start paying attention to things like this and security and keeping your system up to date, not clicking links from strangers, not opening attachments, even if they appear, especially if they appear to be from a friend or a business that you do business with. That's what the bad guys do. They make it look real. Be suspicious, be cynical, be bitter. No, we don't want to live our lives that way, do we? But you kind of, if you're going to use a computer, you kind of have to. Anyway, that's what we talk about here on the show. So, I'd like to know more. I'm curious about if all it is spear phishing emails, and then they got in the system and then they stole, what was on the hard drives and they gave them to WikiLeaks. If that's the extent of the Russian attempt to influence our election, that's kind of weak, frankly. I don't know if that made that much of a difference. That's kind of weak. Come on, can you come up now? If they got into the voting machines and they broke them or they changed the count, that's hacking the election. To me, that's hacking the election, and apparently there's no evidence of that. Although they did get into the Election Assistance Commission. The hacker's name is Rasputin. And but see, I don't think it's the Russian government, because he was trying to sell logins on, the black market, the hacker market, logins to the EAC. The logins had full administrative privileges, access to confidential testing plans, and results for voting hardware around the country. Certainly would be a prime place to attack, get that information, and then figure out what voting systems are vulnerable. But if he's selling the logins on the open market, it sounds like he's more in it for the money, which frankly most of these hacks are. More in it for the money. Anyway, that's my take. I'd like to hear really what they did to throw the election. It's got to be more than that for me to say, oh, shame. By the way, we have a long, vivid history of doing exactly the same things, both with high-tech and low-tech means over the last century, including the CIA, very active in this. So pot, kettle black here. The Russians must be laughing, saying, well, you've been doing it to us for years. We're just one little spearfishing attack, and all of a sudden you're all angry. Yeah, 88, and believe me, I'm a liberal on the left. Not happy about the results of the election. I say that only so you understand. I'm not saying that because I'm happy about the results of the election, but because I just don't think it stands up to the measure I would like to see for something that I'd get all up in arms about. And by the way, the president said he told him to knock it off, so come on. 8888 ask Leo, what do you think? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 ask Leo, the phone number. And look who's here, back from Hawaii. And let's see, she's very tan, she's rested, she's relaxed. Heather Hammond. Did you have fun?
Yeah, it was very relaxing.
You know, it's so funny now when we travel, we see the pictures before the person gets back.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Unless that person's careful. I made one album.
Yeah, I saw some pictures. It looks like you had a great time.
Yeah. Good snorkeling, sea turtles. So many of them.
Sea turtles. You know, we went to Maui, and we went out in an outrigger canoe with a Hawaiian, and he told us stories of the old island and the songs, and we went to look for the sea turtles, and we canoed around for about an hour and a half, never saw one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I think you went at a better time, maybe.
It could be timing, because for me, they just came right up on the beach.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
Man, oh, man.
In pairs.
We missed you. Welcome back.
Thanks. I missed you.
Did you do all your holiday shopping in Hawaii?
A little bit, yeah.
You can't because you have to carry it back, don't you?
Yeah, if you get something small.
I was looking for a coconut.
That's what I got you.
Actually, what I'm really looking for is some callers. Who do we have on the line today?
Jay in Chicago. I don't know which elf made his headphones, but he's got some issues.
Thank you, Heather Hammond. Welcome back. Hi, Jay. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm good. What's up?
It's good to talk to you. I have a question, actually kind of more of a question about a recommendation. So I listen to your podcast, and I listen to I love Security Now, and I love all the...
Wait a minute. How old are you, Jay?
Oh, I'm 12.
You are listening to Security Now, which is the geekiest podcast in the world.
Yes.
It's 2 hours every week of just the hardcore, geekiest nerddom, and you love it.
Yes, I do.
Bravo.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
And I like I like all of them on I like all the podcasts on the Twit network.
Thank you.
And so I listen to the podcast and obviously I need to use headphones, and the headphones that I've been using seem to get, like, after 30 minutes they seem to get extremely hot, and I know you wear those headphones for 2 hours, like when you.
Oh, are you wearing? What kind of headphones do you wear?
They're these like old, like I think they're Bose headphones. They're old.
Oh yeah,
like,
the Quiet Comfort ones. Dad probably gave them to you from when he used to fly a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, they're the noise canceling. So there's three kinds of kind of headphone styles. Actually, really, I'll give it four. There's the in-ear monitor, and that's those musicians where you see sometimes in the rock shows they have those clear things, or American Idol or The Voice, they have those clear things in their ears, and they're molded to fit their ears, and they go deep inside the ear. Then the next ones are kind of the earbuds, which is still in the ear, but they're sitting kind of on top of the ear hole there, like the Apple earbuds. Then there's over-ear, which sit on your ear but don't cover it. And then you're wearing what we call, I should say, there's on-ear, and then there's over-ear, which is what you're wearing. On-ear sits on your ear. Over-ear cups your ear, so your ear is inside the headphone entirely. And that's what those old Bose Quiet Comforts were like, right? Yeah, and they can get warm, especially if you're, what are you doing? Are you working out while you're wearing them?
No, I listen to it while it's kind of just I just listen to it while I'm doing homework or something like that, where I'm not really, I'm just kind of relaxing really when I try, and it's nothing.
They can get warm. I like in-ear monitors personally. Because they do the isolation. If you get the right kind, they have flanges. So I wear them on airplanes and stuff, and I don't hear anything.
Okay.
But now, what I want to tell you, at your age, it's really important to be very careful about your hearing, because I did not.
Yes.
And I used to go to rock concerts and sit next to the speakers, and I liked it that after the concert, my ears would be ringing. And now at my age, after many years of abuse, A, my hearing's not very good, and B, much more annoying to me, I hear a constant ringing. And yeah, you don't want that. I want you to protect your hearing. And parents, if you're listening, I want you to protect your kids' hearing. And here's the headphones I'm going to recommend for you, Jay, and ask for them for Christmas. They're from.
That's exactly what I was.
Yeah, they're from Etymotic, Etymotic. It's what I wear. They're flanged and they go deep in your ear. They give you better sound. They seal out annoyances. And Etymotic makes one for, and forgive me because I know you're 12, you're not a kid, but they call them Eddie Kids. But the point of them is they're safe listening. They're engineered to not deafen kids. You have to be more protective of your hearing than an adult does because your ears are still developing, and you can do such damage so easily. Wearing headphones can really, because what happens is, and this is a side effect from being on the radio for 40 years also, because when you wear headphones and your ears start to go, you turn them up a little bit and then up a little bit more and up a little bit more, and you're actually in a vicious circle where you're actually making yourself deafer and deafer. So I don't want you to do this. These are $39, which makes them, suitable for stocking stuffers. They come in fun colors. The quality of the sound is excellent.
Okay.
But the reason they're for kids is not because there's poor quality, but because they control how loud they get. Some iPods and phones will have volume controls that keep it from getting too loud. I think everybody does now. But I highly tell your mom and dad about these. And then as you get older and you're hearing, you just got to protect it. And as you get older, maybe you want to look at the more expensive Etymotics, because those are my favorite high-quality in-ear monitors. Take a little getting used to, because they go kind of deep in your ear. But, boy, you get better sound because of that. And they don't have to be molded to your ear.
Okay. And then, so wait, what headphones are you wearing, like, when you do the Tech Guy show?
So these are over the ear, just like yours. They're a little lighter, and there's over the ear. You can have closed or open air. Yours, and I think these are why they're getting hot. They're closed off, right? And your head generates a lot of heat. So if you wear them for a long time, they can get warm, and your ears can get warm. It shouldn't be hot, but they can get warm. These are open air. And they're from AKG. They're K240s. So AKG is the manufacturer, and the model number is the K240. And you'll see these in a lot of studio situations, even recording studios. The sound quality is very good, but they are comfortable, and you can wear them for a long period of time, as I do. So I've worn these for years. A lot of radio stations you'll see on-ear Sennheisers because they're very light. But again, I want to really emphasize, Jay, at your age especially, you're in the danger zone where you're listening to a lot of music and you want to hear it loud, and you're in the danger zone where you can damage your hearing. Please, I don't want you to have my hearing problems because it's no fun. Adults will tell you this: watch the knees, watch the ears, watch the back. You kids, calm down. Your face will stick like that. Nice to talk to you, Jay. I think Mom and Dad will love these Etymotics. Very good. And these are AKG K240s. Leo, we'll put the link in the show notes. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I wouldn't want to wear Etymotics for hours at a time because they're in-ear. And I think that's part of the problem, Jay, with in-ear is that they're not comfortable for super long periods of time. So if these are expensive, these AKG K240s. Depends how much Mom and Dad are willing to spend. But
I think this is probably going to be like one of the main gifts, so I don't think it's like I think what you recommended is good. That's
neat that your mom and dad want to give you a nice gift. How much are these, John? It's like $60. Oh, he says these are only $60. Really? Oh, check them out. Okay. $70? $60 or $70. I thought they were. Well, these are the reference ones. These might be a little bit more expensive.
No, the 240s.
These are the K240.
Yeah, I just bought a pair.
Yeah, but these are the studio reference. I don't know. We're going to look it up, Jay. We're going to find out how much these cost.
All right.
Nothing else. This system is not in good shape. I can't go to Amazon. I get this error, which is wrong. I get a certificate error. Well, anyway, take a look. And then, somebody, Foodie in the chat room was reminding me, and I highly agree with this. Take a look at the Wirecutter's review of headphones.
Okay, yeah. I will. I've heard.
You know about them? Yeah, I like the Wirecutter. And then my favorite site for headphones is headphone.com. Is it singular?
Okay.
That they have really good audiophile reviews of headphones. You know what? You love music. What kind of music you listen to?
I listen. Well, I actually. I don't really listen to much music. I actually listen to more podcasts.
Oh, well, then fidelity is not that important, frankly.
Yeah. No, not really.
Yeah. So then these would be fine. Yeah, and just do the setting on you listen on your phone probably, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, do the setting on your phone that says don't turn off most phones have a limiter, a sound limiting on there. Yeah.
All right. Well,
that way you got to protect your hearing so you can hear for forever, for 100 more years. Thank you for listening, Jay.
Yes, thank you so much for taking my call. It's great. Thank you.
Nice to talk to you. Keep listening.
You too. All right, I will.
Bye-bye. There he is, Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru. Hello, Scotty.
Hey, Leo.
Great to see you.
And you?
I loved it that Jay was asking for good headphones so he could listen to more podcasts.
That's great. That's super great. 12 years old. And man, your advice is so right on of, don't blast your ears out when you're young because you won't notice it at first.
Right.
But when you get to be our age, you really will.
Yeah.
It's bad. Yeah.
That's my
say
public
this all
service. My public service announcement for the holiday season. Parents, if you're buying headphones for your kids, these Eddies are great. The Eddy Kids, ETY Kids, they're inexpensive, much better sounding than the cheap earbuds that you get. The kids want the skull candy and stuff like that. These sound better, and they're They automatically limit the sound level so the kids can't get hurt. I was on a plane yesterday. I almost said something, but then I thought, well, I don't want to be. But a kid.
You don't want to be that guy.
I don't want to be that guy. Mom and her kid, they were on the plane. It was only an hour flight, and we came back from Vegas, and the kid was maybe 4, was watching, a kid's show, and I could hear the audio of the kid's show in the row behind her.
Oh,
and I thought, that's a problem. I'm not sure. Maybe couldn't really see if maybe the headphones were in her lap or something, but it wasn't good, and. And I feel like it was probably pretty loud. So
hearing damage is very insidious because it doesn't happen. You don't notice it right away. As you said, you've gone to concerts, you've sat right next to the speakers, and you come out of there with your ears buzzing or ringing, and then that goes away after a couple days.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't. One day it doesn't.
One day it doesn't. and now I'm being punished for my sins.
Indeed.
So I hear you saw a certain Star Wars movie. No spoilers, right? Because I haven't seen it yet.
I'm not going to give any spoilers. And there is a you want to stay to the end because there's a pretty interesting moment at the end. But
we've learned now, by the way.
Yes.
Never to leave a movie even through the credits.
That's right, because there might be an Easter egg.
In fact, Doctor Strange was really maddening because it had one. And then I said, "Oh, good. We saw the Marvel bit, and we started leaving. And there was a woman who had apparently seen it before. She said, "Don't leave." Said,
that's right.
Okay. And then at the very, very end of everything, even the copyright and the Western Electric thing and all of that. And then they finally said there was more, and it was a lot. So I'm glad.
That's exactly right.
So do they do that too in this?
Actually, no, there is no Easter egg.
Oh, good. Okay, so I can leave.
Yeah, but what's cool, there's a number of cool things about it. First of all, it's not the main saga of Star Wars. And it's got mostly different characters. There are a few familiar faces. And one of them is particularly interesting, and it's been written about enough that I think we can talk about it.
No, stop.
Oh.
I won't let you.
Okay. All right.
I don't want to review. Is there audio video stuff to talk about?
Well, I went to see it in.
I don't even read reviews. I haven't watched any trailers.
Okay. All right.
No. Don't talk about exciting characters.
All right,
You've said too much already, my friend.
All right. But I will tell you this. I did see it in a Dolby Cinema because it was graded in Dolby Vision high dynamic range.
Yeah, what is the best way to see it? Every movie these days is probably on every format possible.
It is. It's in IMAX and it's in regular 3D. It's in 3D. It was a 3D conversion. It wasn't shot in 3D, as most 3D movies are. They're not shot in 3D, actually. They're converted after the fact. But I always like to go to Dolby Cinema, which has high dynamic range, and that really does give you the best picture quality. The problem for me is that I went to my local Dolby Cinema, which is here in Burbank, and they were showing it in 3D. And I went, what? Because AMC Theaters, which has the exclusive rights to Dolby Cinema in the U.S., had agreed some time ago that they were going to show Dolby Cinema in 2D, and a move that I applauded. I said, yay, great, because I hate Dolby 3D. It's a weird kind of a 3D that actually causes internal reflections between the 3D glasses and my prescription glasses.
So that's not Real D, which most theaters are still using.
Correct.
Dolby is its own kind.
It's its own kind.
And then there's IMAX, which is a third kind.
Which is a third kind. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Correct. So I really don't like it because it causes double images and kind of a milky halo around the screen. And I got there to see it yesterday, and I went, what? 3D? Are you kidding me? And I heard, I haven't confirmed this yet. I've written to AMC to see if this is true, but I heard that it's only at the Burbank Dolby Cinema, the one I go to. So if you go to a Dolby Cinema elsewhere in the country, and there are now probably close to 50 of them, you probably will see it in 2D, which I think will be great. I wish I had seen it in 2D. I might go down to another one here in LA to see it in 2D again, because the dynamic range, the high dynamic range is so great. There are many dark scenes, and with high dynamic range, you can see the details in the dark shadows that you can't really see in a conventional presentation. So I do recommend, if you can, go see it in a Dolby Cinema. Hopefully they're not all showing it in 3D. I've heard it's not the case, so it's worth seeing. I did not like the latest, The Force Awakens. I thought that was really pretty bad. This one's a lot better than that. So that's, I guess, all I'll say about that.
Yeah, good. Thank you. I like to, for some movies. And man, this has become the thing. I don't know why it's such a big thing, this whole spoiler thing, but it has become the thing. So the last thing I want to do is spoil. I don't even know the name. I don't even know the name. It's a new Star Wars movie of some kind. I don't even know. I won't look at the poster when I walk in.
Oh, man.
I hide my eyes. Yeah. I say, Lisa, just take me in, get me popcorn, sit me down. Yeah.
Well, it's worth seeing, I think. And I'm a fairly tough critic when it comes to Star Wars. I really didn't like Episode 7. So this one's pretty good.
Do I have to know what Episode 7 means to enjoy this?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I was never. Truth is, I have a love-hate relationship with Star Wars. I think many Star Wars fans do because of Jar Jar Binks.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
No Jar Jar Binks in this one.
That's all I want to know.
You did see the original. You saw the original movie, right? The original Star Wars movie?
Yeah, I saw it in 1977.
Good.
When I was 20 years old.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and you still have some memory of it, so some memory anyway.
My ear? Are you kidding? My ears are still ringing.
Still ringing.
No, I own them. I bought them when they came out with the digital. Buy all. What is it? All 6 of them.
Yeah.
Or 9 of them. How many are there?
6 of them. There are now
7.
There were 6 at that time.
Yeah.
Well, all I'll say is, I'm glad you saw the original one.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say.
And actually, if you saw
when you go see Rogue One,
if you see Episode 7, you saw the original one again.
Exactly. This is why
it's okay to do a spoiler a year later, right? Is that all right?
Yeah. That's totally fine.
Okay, we'll talk about Rogue One next year. You can tell me what you think.
There is some very interesting technology that they used in this movie, and I won't tell you what it is because you don't want any spoilers.
Okay.
But it's really interesting. You'll see when you get there. You'll go, wow, how'd they do that?
Cool. Talk about interesting technology. When we went to Vegas to see David Copperfield.
Oh, I've seen that show. It's a great show.
There's a whole spaceship comes in this. Well, I shouldn't say anything. I've been signed. You have to sign a non-disclosure agreement to see the show practically.
Really?
They're very strict. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell any. You know nothing. They even make you put your phone in a box, your smartphone in a box.
Oh, so you can't take any pictures.
So you can't
or
take any
video.
pictures. But then it's kind of sneaky. He sends you an email before the show begins, and in the email, everything you saw on the show is there. After, but you can only see it after the show. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls right after this. Yeah, it was fun.
I don't remember I saw his show, I guess, a couple of years ago.
Well, I'm sure he changes it.
He must have changed it.
So
by
what
now.
did he do? It's so funny. And I understand how he did it, but it's so funny because at the beginning of the show, they say, all right, you're going to send us an email. He's very cagey.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
He's very cagey. He says, send us an email to me at davidcopperfield.com. And then you have a map that lights up with dots on it. And so you want to get your town lit up, which I did. And then he says, now we're not going to spam you, and I'm going to take him at his word, and I'll let you know if he spams me. I don't think he will. We're not going to spam you, but we are going to send you an email right now that will tell you everything you'll see in the next 2 hours. And because I have ESP.
Yeah,
and
right.
so he says, but you can't look at the email until after the show. So put your phone in the box. But please note that the email will be timed right now, which was like 9:36 p.m. This is
Right.
that's going to be the date stamp. So yeah, okay. So, and then at the end of the show, he says, all right, you can take out your phone out of your box and you can look at the email now. Then the email says all the things that happened, later, including completely random things.
Yeah,
It's very clever.
Yeah, that's. I seem to remember something about that.
Giant
from the show I saw.
spaceship. Did you see the
Yeah.
giant spaceship come out?
No, I did not believe me, I would
Audio
remember that.
animatronic little. It was very cool.
Seemingly random things.
No, I don't think they're plants. Lisa said that. She said they're plants. They're not
How
plants
did it get in the email?
because it's a link to a JPEG.
Oh, well.
Most people will be fooled by that. I'll show you. As soon as I get my computer booted up, I'll show you the email. It's kind of cute.
That's very cool.
Yeah. All right, Scotty, you're going to stick around. Oh, you're on now. What am I saying? You're going to stick around for the next break? Here it is.
Yeah, sure. Here I am.
You got 2 minutes. Enjoy.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Beatmaster says, Force Awakens showed me how much better world builder Lucas is compared to JJ and Disney. Even though terrible, the prequels had a much bigger universe somehow. Well, that's interesting. I never was a big fan of Lucas's, dialogue or anything. He was always so consumed with, the technology of creating these worlds that the scripts were pretty bad. And I will say, counter to Beatmaster to what you're saying, that the episode 7, which Disney did and J.J. Abrams, I thought was really bad. It was basically this, as Leo said, the same story over again. And there were so many reasons not to do that. And there were so many possibilities of creative things to do 30 years after the Empire had been defeated. I didn't get it. But Rogue One actually was pretty good. As my friend Sanjay, who was at the same showing I was, after we came out, he said, that's the first Star Wars for adults. And in a sense, he's right. Certainly it's not adult in that sense, but it's obviously not sort of aimed at kids. So it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I just wish it had been in 2D because this stupid Dolby 3D just bugs the heck out of me. Stop by asks, what are your thoughts on the Samsung KS8000 series? Very good. Very popular. Really, really good. Edge-lit, so that's not great. But in every other way, it seems to be a really, really good set. So thumbs up on that one. Let's see. Hartley asks, how was the 3D? I didn't even think it was that good. I mean, sure, there were some shots of, going down a big tunnel and that kind of thing. But, for the most part, it didn't even really need to be there, in my opinion.
So our show today brought to you by those good people. And they are good people at Quicken Loans. They are the premier mortgage lender in the country. And they do a product for us geeks called Rocket Mortgage. And I love this idea. It takes the mortgage process into the 21st century, fast, powerful, completely online. Completely on the mortgage approval process you could do from your couch, on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. You can get all the information they need, including your pay stubs and your bank statements, all online. Everybody does that now, right? Press a button, boom. And then because it's all online, the computers can crunch it up, give you loan approval in minutes, and have a product that's designed for your financial situation. This is the 21st century. I love it. Now, unfortunately, in the world as it is, when you get the loan, you still have to sign papers because that's the way the government requires it. But they even make that easy. They send you a notary. A notary comes with the papers and to your house and says, here, sit down and sign this. But the whole approval process is online, and I love that. I want you to try it right now. Well, actually, I can't say that. If you're buying a house this weekend, I want you to try it right now. Or if you're refinancing, I want you to try it right now. Otherwise, make a note of this and keep it in mind. Put it in your wallet because you never know. You might be looking at a house and go, honey, this house, I've always wanted this house. Let's buy this house. Rocket Mortgage, quickenloans.com/tech guy. That's the address for Rocket Mortgage. quickenloans.com/tech guy. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS consumeraccess.org, number 3030. Rocket Mortgage, quickenloans.com/tech guy. We thank them so much for their support of the Tech Guy Show. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. And let's get back to the phones with Mary in Lisbon, North Dakota. Hi, Mary.
Oh, hi, Leo. And I want to thank you so much for all the knowledge I've gotten from you over the years. And I've taken and used it to set up cameras at the church and recover files from a camera that was deleted. And even when your daughter was over in France in 2008, we happened to move over to France at the same time. So I was able to use a lot of your hints.
Oh, that's really great. Oh, that makes me so happy because that's really the main reason I do it is I want people to use technology exactly like that, to make your life a little better, to share your church services, whatever it is that you want to make better, and that's the whole idea here. So thank you, I appreciate it. Glad you've been able to take advantage of it. Now, what can I do to help you?
Yeah, I bought an Asus AC3200. And you said you really liked it.
That's my router. Love it. Yeah.
Until 2 months ago, and now all I want to do is take a sledgehammer to it.
I don't know what it is with routers. I have the same experience sometimes. They stop working well. What's going on?
What happened was all of a sudden, one night it was working, and the next morning, all of my devices connected to the 2.4 gigahertz network were disconnected.
Oh.
And I, did the normal thing, rebooted it. They came back on. They worked for a couple hours, and then they'd all disconnect again. The 5 gigahertz network seemed to be okay. And first thing I'm going to tell you is we live way out in the country, so I don't have neighbors.
Not congestion. Yeah.
No congestion. Our nearest neighbor is a quarter mile, and after that, you have to go a mile to get to somebody's.
Nice.
And anyway, it kept...
The antennas are all... one of the things problems I've had with that router is the antennas loosen. So you checked the antennas, right?
Yep, I checked the antennas. I checked the firmware. I used my Wi-Fi analyzer. The signal.
Do you see a 2.4 gigahertz signal?
Oh, yeah. All the networks are there.
Isn't that interesting?
So finally, I called Asus, and they gave me an RMA number to send it back in.
Good.
And then all of a sudden, it started working again, and it worked for about a week and a half, and then it quit. So I sent it back in, got the new one back. It worked for about 8 days and quit working again.
Now, let me ask you something. Because I'm having very similar problems, and I have a theory. So I have, when you use your Wi-Fi analyzer, do you see any other devices of yours on the 2.4 gigahertz band? And I'm asking that because I have Roku's on there, Chromecasts on there, I have the Sonos sound system, all on that band. And I think it's clobbering that band is what I thought. In fact, this morning, oddly enough, I went around the house and I unplugged all the Sonos devices.
Okay.
Now, it's been clobbering not my Asus. I have two networks, one for testing, one for my office, and one home network. And I have Eeros on that. Well, this is the new mesh routers. And, Eero uses both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. You don't have to choose it. It chooses it for you. And it feels like it's very congested. There's something that's going up and down. It's what network engineers will call flapping. And I can't for the life of me figure out what's going on. And so I unplugged all the Sonoses, and now I want to, and that didn't help. I'm thinking I'm going to unplug, because everything is doing, so all these devices are starting to live on this unregulated 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth. So even though you're not near any interference, it's coming from the house. Get out of the house, Mary. It's coming from inside the house.
But one of the things that was just really bizarre was before I sent it back in, when I said it was working for about 10 days.
Yeah.
It was working fine. I happened to be staying up late, and at 12:30 that night, everything disconnected. And I played with it for a while. I got up the next morning, and everything was fine.
What?
And lo and behold, at 12:30 the next night, everything quit again. Now, I called Asus again, and what they did is had me do a system restore where I go all the way back to an earlier firmware version.
Yeah.
And I did that, and it's still doing the
What's
same
happening
thing.
at 12:30? That's the question. And is there
There's nothing going on. Well, matter of fact, one night I was all by myself. My husband wasn't even home, and there was nothing else on. And the other thing that's happened...
Does he use the microwave? Does your husband get up every night at midnight and microwave some popcorn?
He's sitting there laughing. No, he goes to bed, and I stay down and play with computers.
There's something going on at 12:30 every night. How interesting.
It hasn't done that since. But also, I have 3 FOSCAM cameras. So,
Okay, so they're also on that network.
Right. So I thought, well, maybe it was something to do with them. So when I got the new router back from them, initially I saved my settings. I put them back in. But the FOSCAM cameras would not connect. And the port forwarding that was working before will not work now. And I know you had a guy about 3 weeks ago that had a problem with port forwarding. And mine's doing the same thing. I'll input the setting. I can go to canyousseemeorg, .org. And I can see it for maybe 30 seconds, and it disappears, and it quits the port forwarding. But I have disconnected the FOSCAM routers, and I know the port forwarding is okay on my ISP because right now I'm using an old D-Link router, and everything works fine on my D-Link router.
Oh, that's interesting. So, well, I'd take that RMA.
I've already gotten a new one. And they sent me a whole new router.
And it's still doing the same thing.
It's doing the same thing. That's why they had me, when I called this week, they had me go back to an earlier firmware version. Because they said the firmware version, they said they noted there was an incompatibility. So it was like 300 or something, I went down 2 versions. I'm about 9 versions behind right now where it's supposed to be at, and it's still not working.
I'm so sympathetic because I'm tearing my hair out on a very similar thing. Now, I consider my home a hostile environment because not only can I see all the routers of the neighborhood, but I have all these devices in there. I have 2 networks, 2 complete Wi-Fi networks in the same space. But I'm having very similar problems to you. Dr. Mom says maybe your leases are renewing at 12:30 a.m., your DHCP leases.
I thought about that too, but I couldn't see anything on it. But It hasn't done that. That was just at that one time it did that.
Isn't that so weird?
But, sometimes it'll, if I reboot it, it'll work for a couple hours. Sometimes it'll work for a day. Maybe it'll work for a week. And there's nothing I'm doing different. And actually, I haven't, since I got the new router and I did a factory reset on it, I haven't even connected my FOSCAM cameras to it.
I just feel your pain. I'm in the same exact boat. And I can't solve it for myself. In fact, my wife has taken to really hurting my feelings by saying, maybe we should get somebody in to look at this. I'm the tech guy. Darn it. What do you mean, somebody in? Who? Well, we could get Russell to come in and look at it, our IT guy. No, I'm the tech guy. I should be able to solve it. It's just driving me crazy. I have a very similar situation where the network's going up and down and weird things are happening.
First happened, something really weird was going on that I have like 3 guest networks because I was trying to separate everything. and I would go in and just rename one of the networks, and then everything would come back on.
So we know it's not your ISP. We know it's not your cable modem or your DSL modem, because with a D-Link, everything works just fine.
Right.
It's clearly something going on with the radio spectrum. Are you near an Indian burial ground?
I've been asked that before.
I think there are quite a few up your way.
25 years ago, and anything that could go wrong did go wrong.
You know, if you ask an RF engineer, and I know quite a few because of my years in radio, and radio is RF, radio frequency. This stuff is mysterious in many ways. I'm sure it's deterministic, but it's a lot more chaotic than, say, bits and bytes, than computer stuff. And I think there's some sort of radio interference going on. And who knows what it is? Maybe your refrigerator's coming on at 12:30, the motor's coming on, and it just happens to be that it's resonating in a frequency that's not 2.4 gigahertz, but maybe 1.2 or 600 megahertz. That's, you know what I'm saying? There's something weird going on, but I have no solution. And by the way, the chat room is chewing on this too, and they don't have a great idea. But I'll tell you what, we're gonna have to break, Mary. Keep listening. We'll keep thinking about this, because I love that router. And as with many routers, it works great for a while, and then something happens, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it worked great for 9 months.
Yeah. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Oh,
Man, a sticky wicket, eh?
oh, I'm even more sympathetic because it's happened to me.
Yeah.
All yours.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm afraid I don't have any solution for that one either. But I have been talking with Stop By in the chat room, who wondered if an LG B6 OLED would be worth the extra money. And I say, yes, absolutely. I asked him if he was going to be watching mostly in a darkened room or if he needed it to be in a really bright room. Even that is kind of a stretch. I mean, an OLED in a bright room will look fine. It really is not a problem. But it's best in a darkened room because it's not as bright as an LCD TV. But the LG B6, I think, is a fabulous product, great display. I think the 65-inch is now on the order of $3,200. The 55 is $2,500, I think, if I'm not remembering correctly. It's something right around there. And yeah, that's a lot for a TV, but man, it's a great picture. Hey, Alan, Australia, good to see you. Creamy corn cob. So the 3D glasses reflect off the exterior, the interior, and back on your prescription glasses. Yes, that's exactly right. What are called Dolby Vision 3D glasses, sometimes called spectrum separation or 6P, because basically you've got two projectors that are showing, one showing the left eye image, one showing the right eye image. And the three colors of red, green, and blue, the three primaries that each projector uses, are slightly different. So the three colors overlap each other. Well, they actually interleave between each other. And the lenses in the glasses filter out one set for one eye and filter out the other set for the other eye. And so that's why you see 3D. But these glasses are very shiny. And the interior surface is very shiny. And so the light comes in, and as we all know from physics, from high school physics, whenever light hits a barrier, a boundary between one medium and another, some of it is presumably a transparent medium. Even if it's a transparent medium like glass, some of it transmits through and some of it gets reflected off the surface. And the stuff that gets reflected off the surface, the interior surface of the 3D glasses, then reflects off of the exterior surface of my prescription glasses. And it bounces back and forth. And the result is if you're looking at a dark scene and there's some bright highlight in it, you see a double image, a ghost image, maybe several. And there's also kind of a milky halo around the image. It's just so distracting to me because I'm viewing critically. If I didn't wear glasses, it wouldn't be as much of a problem, nearly as much of a problem. But I tried contacts in high school when they were, hard, and you had to be very careful with them and everything. And they just were very uncomfortable, and I never liked them. So I never got them again. And I wear prescription glasses. Polarized 3D, which is what Real D uses and what IMAX uses, a different type of polarization, but still they're both polarization, works much better. I like that a lot better. The problem is it's a lot dimmer. The reason that Dolby 3D is touted and has some merit is that it's much brighter. They claim 14-foot Lamberts, which is a measure of brightness, coming to your eye. Normally in a Real D theater, the amount of light getting to your eye through those glasses is 3 or 4 foot Lamberts. So this is a lot brighter, which is great. But this damn reflection thing just really, really, really doesn't like me. I don't like it either. Lawn Dog, let's see, HDR TVs using more wattage than equivalent non-HDR TVs? That's a really good question. Because HDR TVs have to crank up the brightness. They have to be a lot brighter than standard dynamic range TVs. So they probably do. I haven't actually seen any hard numbers on that, but I wouldn't be surprised because they have to generate more light. They have to be brighter, and so they probably have to generate more power. That's what I'm guessing anyway. The Martini, yes. Merry Christmas to everyone. I thought lumens were brightness, Emily the Strange says. Yes, that's another way of measuring brightness. There are lumens, there are ANSI lumens, there are foot Lamberts, there is candelas per meter squared, otherwise known as nits. So there are a number of ways to measure brightness. And the old school way is foot Lamberts. And the newer school way is nits, or candelas per square meter. Projectors use lumens to specify the amount of light coming out of the projector. But the amount of light that comes back to you from the screen depends on a number of factors, including how big the screen is. So the bigger the screen, the same amount of light, the projector can only produce a given amount of light, and that amount of light, if it's spread out over a larger area screen, then there's going to be less light per unit area of the screen coming back to your eyes. So that's why we don't really use lumens to describe the amount of light coming off of a projected image anyway. It's foot Lamberts or nits. Let's see. Dump Truck asks, are HDR TVs too bright for a dark room? Well, some people think so. That is a possibility. But I don't really think it's as big a problem as some people make it out to be. That's my opinion anyway. Which is, but again, that's why in a dark room an OLED actually works great, because it doesn't get as bright as an LCD TV. So I think that's it. Yes, Jay, candle power. That's the really old school.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers and the internet and home theater and smartphones, digital photography, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. 888-827-5536. That's toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. And outside that area, you could still call. Just use Skype, and I'd love to hear from you. And I'd love to hear if anybody's got a solution for crazy Wi-Fi. It really feels like voodoo. Some of these things in the tech world, and I've talked about this before. A computer is the ultimate in rational, I use a phrase, deterministic objects. It's cause and effect. Everything in the computer, if you could, look at everything it would all be exactly predictable. The computers do not do anything out of the ordinary. And if they appear to, it's only because you don't have all the information. They're very concrete. And computer programmers learn that, because, of course, computer programs make a lot of mistakes, but it's always because the programmer made a mistake. Sometimes, all right, I'll grant you, sometimes you get some weird effects because, you do have things inside the computer that could be influenced by, electric waves and stuff. And so sometimes there's strange effects, but usually you could track it down. Networking, it's the same thing. I mean, it's still computers all the way down, but it's somehow, because we're getting wireless and RF radio frequency in there, it's strange. Somebody said, except the random number generator. Art Chandra says, actually, that's part of the problem with computer random number generators, is that they're too predictable. They are not, in fact, random number generators. They're pseudo-random number generators. They're fake random numbers. That's why they always ask you for a seed first. And if the seed is truly random, then you can get better random numbers out of a computer. But that's actually a disability. One of the things computers can't do very well, or well at all, is random number generation, because they're deterministic. If you could, and in fact, a lot of software random number generators will generate, given the same seed, the same random, quote, pseudo-random sequence every time. A lot of errors in cryptography come from assuming that you're getting random numbers from your computer when you're not. Now, it's possible to make a really good random number generator by using stray signals from diodes and things. Something truly chaotic. And that's kind of, I guess, what's going on with Wi-Fi. It's truly chaotic. One of the things I think what we're going to end up doing in my house is put Ethernet cables into every darn room and just use wired. Very, very complicated. Very, very complicated. Anyway, if anybody has a solution, I'd love to hear about it. And that Asus, you bought the router on my recommendation, the Asus AC3200. It's no longer their top-of-the-line router. They have another one, but I found a very good, very reliable router. In fact, I'm still using it quite reliably at home. So I don't know what's going on. One thing I should have mentioned that you want to be careful about, that could be an explanation, is something called double NAT. Double NAT is a bad thing. And what it is that the router, this is what a router does. A router, when you first attach a computer to it, assigns the computer an address from its own pool of numbers. And it does it automatically. You've probably seen this in Windows where it says automatically configure IP address. Sometimes people use the acronym DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, where it automatically assigns an IP address. You want one item on your network, only one, doing that. A lot of times you get a cable modem or a DSL modem from your provider, and it's also a router. That's when you get something called double NAT, where the cable modem is assigning IP addresses, and then you've got a router connected to that assigning IP addresses. And you can get strange effects. You have to be careful how you set that up. It's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it can be useful to create a secure second network for Internet of Things devices. But you got to know what you're doing. It's tricky, and I'm wondering if maybe that was a problem. Anyway, I'd love to hear your solutions. You can call 8888-ASK-LEO. You can also join us in the chat room, wonderful chat room, kind of the kids in the back, smart kids in the back of the class. They're at irc.twit.tv. Or use our website, techguylabs.com. TechGuyLabs.com has a comment section, and every question, every answer, every bit of this show is put up there, all the links and everything, audio and video. And there's room for you to comment as well. TechGuyLabs.com. And it's free to use. We do ask you to create an account if you're going to comment, just so we can keep spam eliminated. But it's an easy process. And I don't use your email addresses. I don't care about them. I don't want them. 8888-ASK-LEO, the phone number, though. Randy is in San Juan Capistrano. Hello, Randy. Thanks for hanging on. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello, Leo.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm interested in buying a iMac, and a couple of big camera retailers in New York, they're selling 2013 models, which they say they have a new stock of, and they're eligible.
Is the price really good on them?
What's that?
Is the price really good on them?
Yeah, they're discounting it like by $1,000.
Get it.
Okay.
I haven't, as long as they're new in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you. First of all, I'm not crazy about the new MacBook Pros. You said these are iMacs?
Yeah, 27-inch iMacs.
Are they the 5K or pre-5K?
It's a pre-5K.
Okay. So it should be a pretty hefty discount.
Yeah, I mean, with the 500 SSD, it's like $1,400.
Okay. Yeah, because the big difference between those 2 or 3 year old iMacs and the current set is the display. I have to say, the Intel processors of the last few years have not made major strides, especially on powered computers. Most of the effort Intel's putting in is in longer battery life and cooler processor. You don't care on a desktop. So in most cases, a desktop processor, even from a couple of years ago, is pretty close to just as fast as today's. So no benefit there. So the big difference is the screen. And if you don't notice or care, then I'd say save some money.
Yeah. Okay. And my next question is, since they have been sitting in the box for like 3 years, could something go wrong?
That's an interesting question. Probably not, especially if they're solid-state drives. If it were a spinning drive, and I would presume that the retailer is standing behind it, right? If it's not working out of the box, you can bring it back.
Yeah, the website says that they're a value-added Apple retailer.
Yeah.
And they're
as long as they stand behind it, I wouldn't worry about it. The SSD isn't going to wear out. No, nothing's going to wear out. A spinning drive, sitting around for a while, that may not be the best thing in the world, but the rest of it should be just fine. Never been opened. Yeah, I think. But again, you want a good discount. I'm talking 50% discount to really justify the 3-year-old model, mostly because of the screen. What you wanted is a discount off the price of that computer back then, maybe. Maybe that's the thing to look at. Because Apple, those new 5K screens are expensive. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Lynn is in Yorba Linda, California. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Not as good as you, but I'm so excited to talk to you.
Well, I always say I'm great. Yeah, I don't really tell the truth. You don't want to hear. Oh, my back is just killing me, and I got no. I actually am. I'm feeling very good. What can I do for you to make you feel better?
Well, first of all, enjoying the show.
Thank
I'm
you.
enjoying your show today. My father turned 85 this past Thursday.
Oh, that's great.
And I know. And he's got a vim and vigor for life now.
Nice.
We just my husband got an iPhone 6 Plus, and we handed his old iPhone 4 to my dad.
Yes.
And gave him use of it. Oh my goodness! It's the funnest thing he's ever had in his life. I have never seen him enjoy it so much. And he, with my son and his grandchildren, every time he's with them, he wants to know how to use this and what is that for and so forth. It really
that's fantastic.
Is a wonderful thing.
Yes.
So that said, I have now decided that I need to splurge and get the man a new computer.
Oh, great.
For his birthday / Christmas. So I did have a little talk with him about it. He wants a desktop.
Okay.
Right now, he's using a leftover that I gave him my old work computer that's XP. And it's
can I talk you out of giving him a wonderful gentleman that he is a Windows or a Mac machine?
I'm kind of listening. That's why I called.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
He doesn't. First of all, he doesn't. I would say they make very nice. They call them Chrome boxes. They're desktop computers running the Chromebook. The Chrome OS. And so what it really is the Chrome browser, and I guarantee you everything he wants to do, he can do on a Chrome OS, because email, talk to the kids, all that stuff. There is something to be said for getting, and I bet you they make these, one with a touch interface, because then he could also, in time, if not already, run Android software on it. So if the kids, yes, right?
No, well, wait, see, I'm an iPhone, and
I know, but it's the same app. So like the kids will say, "Oh, Grandpa, you got to get Instagram." He can do it. It's the same Instagram on Mac, on iOS and Android. So I understand what you're saying, but and you don't have to turn this on either. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
Last year I gave him an LG. There was a promotion, and I got a free LG.
And it didn't work out too well. No, I understand that. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
because I'm not Android qualified.
Yeah. I understand. So he has internet?
He has internet.
Okay, wireless internet?
He does.
Good.
And by the way, I need to tell you this. He is a retired computer engineer.
Oh, we'll get him a Windows box.
because he trained use and maintenance on computer systems when they were as big as a room.
In that case, he probably will want a real computer.
Okay.
So forget what I just said.
Okay.
Windows, I'll tell you, Windows 10 these days is very usable. It's really important that he learn the security rules just like anybody. But I don't think that's going to be a huge issue. He might, I mean, I think a Windows, there are so many nice Windows desktops out there right now. He said he wants a bigger screen, I take it.
My brother bought him a monitor, so about a year or two. So he's got like a 22-inch monitor.
Oh, okay.
Good on the monitor. I just need the box, and I have no clue, Leo. I went on a electronics store, and I was overwhelmed.
Here's what you're going to get him.
Okay.
Intel designed this thing called the NUC, N-U-C. It stands for New Unit of Computing. They're cute little, tiny little, like little hockey puck-sized computers. They're very cute. And he already has the keyboard, mouse, and monitor. You just hook them up to the NUC. It has a modern processor, has fast hard drives. They're not hugely expensive. They kind of look like the Mac Mini, in fact. I really like these. You can go online and look for them on Amazon or newegg.com and choose one with an i5 processor. He probably doesn't need more than a 512 gig hard drive. Get an SSD, solid state drive. In fact, even a 256 gigabyte is probably enough for him. But make sure it's an SSD, 8 gigs of RAM or 16 gigs of RAM. And I think this would be a great little, and the NUC is nice because it tucks out of the way. It's not a giant tower in there, and they're really quite good.
Okay.
You can always go, and then if you really want to get like a more traditional tower system, I would get a Dell, and Dell has refurbished systems that are not very expensive.
Do you have a model that you would suggest on the Dell?
Just choose by price. Again, I'll tell you the specs. You want an i5 processor. You want
i5 processor,
8 gigs of RAM, 8 or 16, but 8's fine. 256 gig SSD. That's really important. That'll make a huge difference in speed. And then, so that's the storage. Is 256 gig storage, 8 gigabytes of memory, i5 processor. I wouldn't worry about the special video card. Just, the built-in video will be just fine.
Now, he does store some pictures, some photos. Okay,
then, even then, I mean, unless he's got a lot of... I have been taking pictures for a long time, and, it's under a terabyte. You can always get an external... Sorry, say again?
He doesn't have a lot. He doesn't have a lot.
Yeah. Get 512 so he can grow into it then. 512. But and Dell, I think the XPS systems are the kind of the top of the line, and then they have a less expensive Inspiron line that's quite good. And if he does run out of space, these can easily add an external drive.
Okay.
I think, and we're talking $500 at most.
Okay. That sounds great. I really, really appreciate it.
He'll love it.
So
He'll love it.
Enjoy your show.
Well, I love it that you're doing this for Dad. I think he's going to dig it so much. And what's great is it connects him to the world.
You know, he does genealogy searches.
Oh, he'll love it. He'll love it.
He's going to love it. I mean,
Yeah.
he already has that old computer, but it's slower than you know what. I mean, just so he will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anything modern will be lightning fast compared to what he's got. And, just make sure he keeps it up to date. He doesn't fall for email scams, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
Yep. I will do so, and I sure appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Happy holidays. That sounds like a wonderful gift.
Back at you.
Have a great one. Take care. I love seeing computers in the hands. I don't want to say seniors since I'm 60. I guess I'm a senior too. I love seeing computers in the hands of us old folks because it connects us to the world. It connects us to our grandkids. I think it's a wonderful thing to do. It can be overwhelming though, so be ready to help out, And sometimes that's why I like an iPad or a Chromebook because it's a little simpler. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. He's been everywhere. It's Johnny Jet. Our travel guru, Johnny Jet, proud papa. He had his little baby Jack on his lap. But you know how it is with little babies. Sometimes they get a little ornery, and so you were wise to hand him off. How's he doing, though? 3 months
he's
old?
He's doing great. 3 months. He's doing amazing. Doubled in weight, and
good.
We're over the moon.
I love the word that the pediatrician uses for that. He's thriving. He's thriving. That's nice.
Yes.
Very
yes. Nice. Hopefully he continues. Knock on wood.
I'm sure he will. So
a few things, by the way. I got a couple news things. So, British Airways say they're going to strike. 4,500 members are going to strike next week on Christmas Day and Boxing Day. So if anyone is flying British Airways, you better start having a backup plan now. You should always have a backup plan, first of all. But supposedly the long-haul flights will not be affected, but stuff from Heathrow will be. So if you have a connection, you're going elsewhere in Europe or Asia or whatever, you better just double check everything or start making alternate arrangements now.
Why are they striking?
They want more money, obviously. So it's 4,500 cabin crew, check-in staff, and baggage handlers at 18 UK airports. But that could all change in 3 days. They said they're going to come out with an announcement in 3 days. That could change.
Yeah, that's why they strike on Christmas.
I don't think they will resolve it, but I think that they'll try their best to bring in more people.
Okay.
So that's one thing.
Yeah.
Yes. And the other thing is, did you hear about Wynn Las Vegas? They are now getting Amazon Echo in every room.
Oh, I love that.
4,700 rooms, over 4,700 rooms.
But now it's not tied to your account. I mean, how do they do that?
No, but so that way people can walk in and say, close the curtains or open the curtains.
Oh,
or,
that's smart.
Turn on the radio.
That's smart. I'll be staying there next time.
Yes. So, I guess Marriott was the first to do it in their loft hotels. But this is going to be the first hotel that's going to have every room.
Wow.
They say the future is voice activation.
Yeah, it is. I think it's certainly one future. There's many futures, coming.
Right.
But that's one future. Dr. Mom says it's tied to a Wynn account. So it's tied to that. Yeah. So if you want to have some fun with Steve Wynn, because he's got a lot of money, just say, Echo, buy some cashmere socks. And then Steve will be he'll say, thank you for the gift. He'll be very happy. Yeah.
I was wondering about that myself.
I'm sure this is a deal with Amazon that it's a specially crafted Amazon Echo.
I would think so.
Yeah.
So I got an app for you. I've talked about how to get cheap passport photos in the past and visas, but this one might have been one of your listeners that recommended it to me, and it seems like it's going to take the cake. It's called Passport Booth. So you can go to passportbooth.com.
It's an app?
It's an app. So it's for, Android or iPhone.
All right.
And so you take
a picture of yourself and it sends you
it has all kinds of tips on how to take pictures, use a plain white background, it turns off the flash on your phone. It tells you can't wear glasses, which you're not allowed to anymore in your passport photos. And so it gives you tips, and then you can either, if you have a really good printer and the paper, you can do it. Otherwise, you can send it to the local drugstore. You can or pharmacy, and they'll
so you
print
can get it right
50
away.
Cents, 50 cents or less, or they'll ship it to you for under $6.
Nice.
Only in the U.S., by the way. But I think it looks really cool. And
does it have? Dr. Mom wants to know. Does it have settings to make sure the picture looks nothing like you? You're not supposed to smile anymore either, are you?
No, you're not.
So everybody
Although
looks
I'm
grumpy.
Smiling in mine.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you know how not to smile.
And we're about to get a passport for Jack, so I might try that this week.
Baby's first passport. Oh.
So, yes,
Isn't that cute?
make sure he has a passport. So anyway, check that out. I also have a website for you if we have time.
Yes, please.
We do. So this one, you will be interested in this one. It's called Stride Travel, STRIDE travel.com. And so this is kind of like the kayak and TripAdvisor combined of packaged deals, tours, and river cruises. So if you have no idea, if you want to do some kind of group tour or, a multi-day guided tour, not just they don't do day tours or river cruises, you punch in where you want to go, you select what kind of trip you want to do, and it searches over 400 tour operators and it has reviews. So it's pretty cool. I learned about these guys again at that Focusrite conference I went to.
Nice.
And yeah, I know you love to do, river cruises or group tours sometimes, and you're doing that Galapagos.
I know. I'm so excited. That's in June.
Yeah. So it would be interesting to see how the one that you're going on, if it's on there and how it's rated.
Good.
And then you can compare.
Actually, no, it won't, because I already paid for it, so I don't want to know. If it's not well rated, I don't want to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that's it for me. So there's some deals actually right now. I just saw a deal on Swiss, LA to Vienna, $540 round trip, including all taxes.
LA to Vienna, $540. Wow. Wow.
That's for March. Also, JetBlue has a sale going on. You can fly New York or San Jose, vice versa, for $236 round trip, and that's a great deal.
Very nice. We flew Virgin America to Vegas and back this last couple of days just for a little jaunt.
How was that?
Weekend. It was nice. They're owned now by Alaska.
Airlines.
And
yes.
I'm glad to say that they haven't changed it. They still have the disco balls, the mood lighting, the same. They have. I think Virgin America has the single best safety video of all of them. Although New Zealand's pretty famous.
I was going to say Air New Zealand always has, and they just came out with a new one this week with Rachel Hunter.
Yeah, no, but then they update theirs regularly. But you've seen Virgin America's probably.
Yeah. It's
dancing, singing. There's rapping in it. It's wonderful. And it definitely grabs your attention. The nice thing is, even if you've seen it many times, as I have, it's still engaging and fun. Yeah.
There's a lot of people who don't like when airlines make their in-flight safety videos.
They want They want a serious.
Which I think is a huge mistake because no one listens to that.
Right.
People actually pay attention to these.
Yeah, I already know it all, and that's why I wouldn't pay attention if it were just some guy mumbling it. And by the way, why is it always the guy when it is the one of the flight attendants reading the rules? It's the guy who is the least able to enunciate that's reading. Why is that?
I have no comment.
Can they get lessons on or if not, record it? I'll volunteer. It's regional airlines are the worst.
Yeah.
Regional airlines are the worst. I had one the other day. I couldn't understand a word he said. And now, fortunately, I know how to buckle a seatbelt, and I know where the oxygen mask is coming from, and I know to do it on my companion's face first and then mine. But had I not, I would have been utterly confused.
Well, you should always listen to it. I mean, I fly a lot, and I see the captains and flight attendants who are flying as a passenger, and they're always paying attention because they say it's always good to learn it again. Also, the aircraft might be different and things are in other places. So.
Well, I always look for the exits, but that's just me. I do that even when I come into a room.
Especially a hotel, too. I mean,
I always look. Yeah, you know what? It's funny. We stayed at the MGM, and I looked on the back of the door to find out where the nearest exit is because I remember the MGM had a fire like 30 years ago, and I just wanted to remember how to get out of there.
I was actually in a hotel fire when I was a teenager in Puerto Rico, and I've learned, since then, I now keep my clothes ready to go by the door, my wallet.
Oh, I'm running out the door naked. If I can't find my clothes, I'm still going out the door naked. I don't care.
Well,
that's more. I don't have that much pride. JohnnyJet.com is the website. Sign up for his travel newsletters. They're free. And, of course, follow him on Twitter and Instagram, too, @JohnnyJet. Thank you, JJ. Have a great holiday. We'll see you next year.
Merry
Leo Laporte.
Christmas.
Thank you, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. Yogi's in Long Beach, our next caller. Hi, Yogi.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Welcome to the show.
Okay, I got a quick question. You were talking about security earlier.
Yeah.
And I want to know if I'm doing with my passwords is okay.
Oh, well, let me know. What are you doing with your passwords?
Okay, so I have them all in a text file.
Okay.
And then the text file is, I actually have two. One for airlines and one for everything else.
Okay.
The text file is encrypted, and it's a read-only file, so you can't screw it up.
Nice. Smart.
All the passwords are randomly generated. They're like 25, just gibberish on the keyboard.
Good man.
Okay, and so what I have...
How are you generating them? By typing? Or do you...
Well, I type them into the text file, and then...
So you just kind of go bang, 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 bang on the keyboard?
Oh, yeah, with the caps lock going up and down.
Okay.
And then I actually make a whole... I mean, it's purely random. You can never figure it out. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so here the key is this. So take, for example, one credit card. So I have, the URL there. I have my account number. I have my username, and I have the password. So when I open up the credit card in the web browser, so I enter my user. I click.
How do you unencrypt the file? You have a master password for it?
Oh, I have two copies, and one is unencrypted, and it's in a safe for my kids.
Okay. Good thinking.
Right. Anyway, so so to get this file, I have to plug in my USB thumb drive. That's encrypted, and the key is on the computer.
Nice. Okay. So you plug in the drive, and it unencrypts, and then you open the text file, and you find the password, and you can paste it in at that point.
That is right. So
Good.
now the question is, and I've had some actual discussions with people, they say if you cut and paste the password in, it's no different than typing it in. So that's the core of my question.
It is different. It's completely different because if somebody has a keystroke logger on your computer, they can log your keystrokes, but they can't log your cut and paste.
Nice. That's what I didn't know.
So you're safe on that. Now,
I'm an IT expert guy.
I'll tell you a couple of things. First of all, it's an inconvenient system, but as long as you're happy with it, it's fine.
It's an inconvenient system, but I'm happy enough with it. I was going to get a password manager, and I thought, I've been doing stuff like this for years.
Yeah, as long as a password manager does roughly the same thing. Here's one way it would improve your system is the generation of passwords. As random as that might sound, you're banging on the keyboard. It's not actually very random. But I mean, it's random enough. I'm not going to worry about it too much. But a password generator would actually make a truly random password for you, and it could be a lot longer. And I think, but honestly, what you're doing is fine. Here are the potential attack vectors. You've already eliminated a keystroke logger. Of course, if somebody has a camera looking over your shoulder, they might. Well, even a cut and paste is going to be pretty hard. They'd have to see you open that file and read the text file. So I think you're pretty good in a kind of an attack that's actually physically accessing your system. The other kind of attack would be somebody getting that file. How do you encrypt it?
I just use Windows 10, just encryption, whatever.
Okay, the BitLocker. Okay.
Encrypt file, and then it changes the color from black to green.
That's fine. I think you have the only knock on your system is it's somewhat inconvenient, but if you're comfortable with it, no problem. I'll give you a way to generate more without a password manager, more random passwords. My friend Steve Gibson has a password generating program on his website you could use.
Okay, I have his program.
So it's been right. Yeah, go to grc.com/passwords, and you just every time you press the refresh button, it'll give you a new long password you can use.
Oh, okay. So I'll do that.
That's a little more random than mashing the keys, because truthfully, mashing the keys is going to give you roughly the same thing each time. Frankly.
Well, what I did is I created like a 4-line, I called it a text boneyard, and so then I just had all these numbers and symbols and all this crap, and I kept moving it around. And then to make a password, I just go into grab a segment of that.
Right.
And
Now, remember that if somebody is really, the chat room's reminding me that if somebody's got a keystroke, depends on how the keystroke logger works. You know, if it's a hardware keystroke logger, and this is a very easy thing, if somebody has physical access to your system, they can put a keystroke logger in between your keyboard and the computer. That won't capture the paste. If it's software, though, sitting on your system, well, then all bets are off, because the software, of course, can look at your clipboard and all sorts of things.
Right.
So software on your, but if I'm telling you, if somebody's got software on your system, you got bigger problems.
Right. So I have Malwarebytes and I have Windows Defender, and that's
those. You know what? Those aren't in any way complete. The only thing that's complete is you. Well, that's right. What is a person to do? I wonder. It's really your behavior. But I think you're good. I mean, I generally tell people get a password locker just because it does all of this in a much simpler, more straightforward way.
Okay.
But you're basically doing the right thing. In fact, truthfully, and my friend Steve and others will get mad at me for saying this, as long as nobody has physical access to your premises, you could write them down in a notebook. I mean, it's not like, and once somebody has physical access to your premises, kind of all bets are off. They can do all sorts of stuff if they've got the machine.
I do have what I call my blue book. I've had it for 15. That's my second version. It's got 100 pages and it's almost full. I've got everything in the world in there. But, you know, I mean, I have that too.
What you have is a step better than that, because they would have to get the USB key and then they would have to figure out how to decrypt it. And
they'd have to find the USB.
So I think, so I think you're fine on that. I think you've actually added to the overall encryption.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I know you're fine. It's just inconvenient. I wouldn't want to do that because it's kind of a pain. You have to put in the USB key, find the password, copy it, paste it, and all that stuff. But
So what do you have a USB?
I use LastPass, which is now LastPass has other attack vectors. LastPass is my favorite password manager. It's $1 a month. It generates a password, stores them. You're familiar with it. You have to remember one long password that's your LastPass password that you keep in your brain. The rest of them it will remember for you. The vector of attack on that is that LastPass stores your password blob, albeit encrypted, but it does store it on their servers. So if somebody got into the LastPass servers and got all these encrypted blobs, they would have at their leisure time to try to crack them. And of course, if they crack it, they've got everything. They've got the keys to the kingdom. Yeah. So people who don't like that system will use something called, for instance, 1Password, which lets you do kind of what you're doing. The 1Password vault could be stored on a USB key. It would do exactly what you're doing in a more automated fashion. So that would be another one to look at as 1Password. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. That's my phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Carlton on the line from Henderson, Illinois, North Carolina. Hendersonville. Okay, let me get it right, Carlton. Carlton in Hendersonville, North Carolina. Hey, Carlton.
You got it.
Too many letters for me. I couldn't.
It was an amazing job.
I have fun doing it, and I'm glad you like it. Thank you.
My question is, do you have any insights or comments about the reasons for Apple delaying their AirPod?
They blew it, didn't they? Because they were able to get. By the way, you could order them this week, but if you didn't jump on it right away, you won't get it till next month. And that I didn't get it in time. Some people are going to get it in time for Christmas, but most people will be getting it like I will be early in January or later.
Do you have any insights about why?
You know, no one knows because Apple doesn't say, but the consensus from most Apple pundits was they had problems. This is the phrase John Gruber used, manufacturing them at scale. We know they were able to make them and that they were able to work because many journalists got pre-production units. My friend Renee Ritchie had them. I know a lot of people who had them, who wore them, who loved them. Renee loves his, and they worked fine. So I don't think there was some technical element in it that didn't work exactly right. I think it was whatever. They're white. Sometimes white things are hard to make. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? These things happen all the time. You hear stories of happens a lot to Kickstarter projects because they aren't adept at managing the manufacturing process, and they get 10,000 units of something that don't work well or have a problem. I've talked to so many people. My friend Jerry Ellsworth, who's a very talented engineer, designed some years ago it looked like an Atari joystick, one of those old-fashioned Atari joysticks, and inside it had ROM. It had the Commodore 64. I have it right here, actually. I think it had the Commodore 64 ROM in it. And they made hundreds of thousands of them, put them in China, of course, put them on a container, got them home, and Jerry plugged it in. It didn't work. It didn't work. They had 100,000-something units that just didn't work. She was able to figure out, she's a brilliant engineer, she was able to figure out, they did this, they wired this wrong in the chip, and she was able to come up with a fix so that they could save that batch. I just read a Kickstarter story of a guy who had a clever idea for a novelty item, a condom keychain, and had them made, had a 10,000 made in China. They came, and something had, I guess when they put them in the airplane, the air pressure, as you know, in the cargo hold of an airplane changes a lot, and they leaked, and they were just unusable. And he was bringing these to the big trade show, I guess CES or the gadget show, and they were just covered with sticky oil. It was one of many traumas that he had in that process, losing his shirt, as a matter of fact, and the company failed. So these things happen. And you'd think with Apple, no one has better supply chain experience than Apple. And the guy who runs Apple, Tim Cook, that's where he came up from. He was Apple's chief operating officer and famous for managing the supply chain, for getting think about an iPhone, getting an iPhone manufactured. Probably 100,000 discrete parts in here, screws and knobs and chips, and they have to all be made by individual sub-vendors and then gathered together at the factory in China, in Shenzhen, China, at the Foxconn factory, assembled perfectly. And of course, Apple does stuff no one else does in terms of look, feel, fit, and finish. It's easy to imagine one little hiccup, and it must have driven Tim Cook crazy, because these AirPods, the iPhone 7, which came out in September, right, was designed specifically for the use of wireless headphones. There's no headphone jack. Sure, they ship it with an adapter, but really the whole reason for abandoning the headphone jack from Apple's point of view was to sell Bluetooth headphones. They are, after all, the #1 Bluetooth headphone manufacturer in the world with Beats. And it's pretty obvious that Apple, wanted to get the AirPods, which are their Bluetooth wireless headphones designed for the iPhone 7. They even have a special chip to make it easy to pair with. That's a stocking stuffer at $159 a pair. And the great thing about these is they fall out of your ear, you're going to lose them right away. So that's, at least they'll sell 2 or 3 units at $159 a pair. So it must have just killed them not to have them in the stores by now, but they don't. They may before. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure they're cranking them out as fast as they can, flying them over on 747s. I'm sure they will get them out as quickly as possible. But if you order them, at least if you order them on the Apple site, you won't be able to get them. I've been told, until next year, I've been told that the stores will probably get some units before Christmas. So if you've just got it in your heart that you really want to, this is the gift that you want to give your kids or whatever, haunt the Apple store, basically. You just, every day go in there. Because the way it tends to work at the Apple stores is they get unscheduled surprise shipments. And it's usually 5 units or something like that. This is what's happened in the past with scarce items. They'll get half a dozen of them. And so I remember this when the pen for the iPad Pro wasn't available at first. You got the iPad Pro with no pen. And when they did come out, they came out onesie, twosie. If you saw one in an Apple store, if you saw any in an Apple store, you'd buy them all. Give them to friends. I think this is kind of like that. So I ordered mine January 12th. They're scheduled to arrive, which was exactly 1 month later. Sometimes Apple under-promises and over-delivers. They'll give you a ship date and then get it to you sooner. I've had that happen lately. It happened with the MacBook Pro. I wouldn't be surprised if they got them a little bit sooner, but whether they'll get it in time for Christmas, that's another question. And there are, let's face it, other choices out there that might be as good or better. In fact, even the Beats, I think they got the Beats, right? What are they, the Solo 3s or whatever they're calling them, that are designed for the iPhone 7 with you want one that has the special super secret Apple wireless chip in there, right? If nothing else, Apple's brilliant at marketing. They are brilliant at marketing. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Great choices by our musical director, Michael Cozio. Going to have a great holiday, I hope, Michael. And a great New Year's Eve. And have a lot of fun. And just remember, you have to come into work New Year's Day. That's all I'm saying. Just keep that in mind. Billy in Oxnard, California. Hi, Billy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
So kind of piggybacking off the last caller with Bluetooth, I'll stay. That was a good segue. I'll keep it short as possible.
Okie doke.
I know that I'm getting Bluetooth headphones. I think the Beats for Christmas.
Good.
Which I'm excited about.
Good. Yeah.
I also, over the last year or so, have been building up my vinyl LP collection, which I'm very happy with. I want to know if it's possible, if there's any peripheral that I can hook up to the record player that could essentially make that Bluetooth to stream to the headphones.
Oh, what a clever thought. You don't want to digitize the record. You still want your vinyl, but you you want
counterintuitive.
No, it's not. No, well, it's okay, a little. But hey, that's the beauty of this. To each his own. You want your vinyl, but you want to listen on Bluetooth. So most receivers sold today, most amplifiers and receivers have that capability. You could listen on a Bluetooth headset. So I presume you're hooking your record player up to a preamp and an amp. Are you or no?
Yeah, right now it's hooked into, it's kind of an old Onkyo just receiver. And
right.
That's what I've been...
So more modern receivers will have Bluetooth built into them.
Okay.
So that's one way. You could pair your headphones to the receiver. If you want to continue to use that, then there are many people who sell, and I don't think there's a quality difference between them. I think they're all probably the same Chinese company makes them, and then hundreds of companies buy them and put their label on it. But adapters, they turn audio into Bluetooth, either USB or, in your case, you probably want an analog adapter you plug into the headphone jack.
Right.
And then it turns it into Bluetooth, and you pair to it. So that's
one of those like on Amazon.
Yeah, they're about $15. G. Scott says on Amazon. What would we call those? Bluetooth transmitters? Yeah. Yep. So just search on Amazon for Bluetooth transmitters. They're cheap. Now, I got to tell you, the audio quality is going to be terrible. I mean, I presume the reason you listen to, in fact, the only reason I could think somebody listens to vinyl is because you revere the analog sound. Or maybe you just do it because you got a big collection.
It's a little bit of both. I kind of, my music skews much older taste, so
a lot of it's not been put out yet.
And it's more just, inheriting my parents' collection.
How nice.
Really cool, but it's also, I have a fiance.
There's an aesthetic to putting the record on the turntable, putting the needle down. I'm old enough to remember and be somewhat nostalgic about that, so I don't blame you. But Bluetooth audio itself is not great audio. Even with the best possible Bluetooth headphones, I just wanted to verify this for myself. I spent $400 on what people widely agree is the best Bluetooth headphone from Sennheiser. $400. I don't know what I was thinking. And when I listen, I have the same problem with those as I have with the cheap $50 Bluetooth headphones. The sound is highly compressed, and I can hear it. Now, when I say compressed, I mean the dynamic range between the loudest and the quietest is shrunk. You hear that on radio, too. If you listen to, especially it used to be in the old days of AM radio, the music sounds because it's compressed. And all pop music's produced that way. But, I mean, if you're listening to classical music, it's not the sound you want. Or music where, like jazz, if your parents' old records are not highly compressed. And that's one of the things analog records do give you is this openness that tends to be lacking in digital. The Bluetooth is going to trash that. So,
well, maybe my fiance then is just going to have to become an Eagles fan. It's not going to be headphones.
Well, I'm just telling you. You can, but anyway, you can look and you can get the Bluetooth dongle and all of that stuff. So,
all right, cool.
Yeah, it wouldn't be my favorite way if I were listening to albums. I'd get a really nice. You want a nice pair of wired headphones, maybe even those electrostatic headphones for $1,000 from Hi-Fi Man that give you this. I mean, I can tell the difference. And as I said, I'm an old deaf guy. Well, not deaf, but years of being a DJ and listening to loud music have ruined my hearing. And yet I can absolutely tell the difference between these very nice Sennheiser headphones. I'm sure it's not the Sennheiser part that's bad. It's the Bluetooth. And my wired Hi-Fi Man, very expensive $1,000 headphones. There's an airiness and an openness. There's a stereo separation that is just remarkable, and you can absolutely hear the difference. And if you're listening on vinyl, I would think it'd make a difference. Now, there is a newer standard for Bluetooth called aptX that is less compressed. I haven't heard it yet. I'm told I can do it if I get the right headphones. You need to have headphones that support aptX, and you need the transmitter that supports aptX. So look for aptX, APT-X capability. The MacBook Pros, for instance, have aptX capability, but oddly enough, the iPhone 7 designed for Bluetooth listening does not. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's a nice gift, though. Headphones are a great gift. And good headphones are a really great gift. Hint, hint. Anthony in Beaumont, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Beaumont, Texas?
California.
Okay, good enough.
Just a couple things. You were talking about the kids' headphones earlier. What was the name of those again?
They're from Etymotics, Etymotics. They make in-ear monitors. They make, you stick them pretty deep. If you look at them, they're flanged, and they have 3 or 4 flanges, and they go pretty deep in your ear. Sometimes people literally gag when they first start using them. You get used to them. The advantage of that is they seal the ear completely, and they make ones for kids. It's called ETY Kids. $39. They're designed to, regardless of the source, make sure that it doesn't get too loud for the kid, and I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
Okay. My next thing is my son in school, he's 6 in first grade, and they're using Chromebooks.
Nice.
So he's been bugging me to get him one since he started at the beginning of the year. So
he wants one for home. That's, you know what? You want to encourage that, right?
Yeah. So we're getting him one for Christmas.
Good.
So we got him a Samsung Chromebook.
Perfect.
But what can I put on there to prevent him from downloading any viruses or going on any sites, or is there anything?
Yeah. So here's the deal on viruses. You don't have to worry, because Chrome OS is not Windows. It doesn't. There's no viruses. But I think keeping him, from accidentally stumbling on an adult site, for instance, is a great idea. And for that, you want to modify the router. My suggestion is you change your router settings to use something called OpenDNS. You'll find it at opendns.com. All the details are there. And then turn on the parental filters, and he's safe no matter what he does. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. And Stuart's next in Chino, California. Hi, Stuart.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Well, thanks for taking my call. I got a question about the Samsung S7 phone that they took off the market because they were having battery problems or something.
They still sell the S7. They took the Note 7 off the market because of explosive batteries. Minor detail, minor issue. In fact, this week, Samsung's going to push an update in the United States to everybody but Verizon customers, because Verizon's going to block it, that will take the Note 7 and make it so it doesn't charge, and it won't even work if it's not plugged in.
Oh, no.
And all of this is to get there's still about 133,000 Note 7s in the wild. You know, they've been begging people. They've been giving them deals. I think at this point they'll give you $100 and free stuff, and people with such a nice phone, some people are not handing them in. And I think their attitude is, well, it hasn't burst into flames yet.
My gosh.
It must be okay. So the S7 is still out and very nice, but it's a little smaller. The Note 7 was a larger screen, 5.7-inch screen, and it had a stylus. And that, I don't think they will replace with anything. I think that they consider the Note brand now so severely damaged that they won't try to replace it. You know, you get on an airplane, and they'll tell you, if you have a Galaxy Note 7, pass it forward. We're not going to let you ride on the plane with it.
Well, I got an S5 that I like fine.
Yeah, and the S7 will replace that. The S8 is coming out this spring, if you want to wait.
I just wanted to get something with a little bigger screen, and I thought, I don't really know what the measurements of the S7 screen are.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Verizon has changed their mind, and they are going to push that update, but they won't do it until after Christmas because they don't want anybody to have a... But on the other hand, a fire on Christmas, as my dad used to say, my whole childhood is always tragic. So don't keep your Note 7. Get a new replacement. Many of them will get Galaxy Note or S7s. Yeah, you want the bigger screen, and I tell you, that big screen, oh, man, I'm going to be nostalgic for the Note 7. It was the phone of the year. It was the most beautiful. If it didn't have that slight problem of bursting into flame at the most inopportune moments, it would really have been such a great phone. I turned mine in almost immediately as soon as they said that.
Now, you say they're going to make a 8. Is that a Note or is that
No,
regular?
I do think Samsung understands that there are people like you and me who want larger phones and will make a 5.7-inch phone. I'm sure that they will make one. They won't call it a Note. They'll call it something else. They may even call it the S8 Extra or something. But we'll find out about that in the spring. Samsung usually announces these in March. I think you'd be the S5 was of all of the Galaxy S phones, the one I liked the least. I loved the S1, 2, 3, and I loved the 6, and I loved the 7. I think you'd be very happy with the 7. The camera is incredible. Battery life much improved over the S5. It's snappier, but it is, unfortunately, alas, the same size screen as you have already.
Yeah, well, I want a bigger screen.
Yeah.
Actually, I put a program on there that I use for flying in an airplane. I put a navigation app in there. Yeah. And so I want a little bigger screen.
Sure.
And that's why I wanted to get a bigger one.
Well, you could look, I mean, they do make 7-inch tablets that would be a little bigger. You know, if you search around, you might be able to find Google's Nexus 6, which was a 6-inch phone. It was a very nice size for what you're talking about. And it should be fairly inexpensive because it's a year old. The nice thing about it, though, is Google keeps it up to date. In fact, they just pushed the latest version of Android 7.1 onto my Nexus 6. So that would be one I would look at. There are large phones by other manufacturers, Huawei, Chinese manufacturers. The Mi, maybe you'd like to look at a Mi, MI. What is it? The Mi. What is it called? The Mi Note from. Let me see if I can find it. That's I think a 6-inch. They make quite a big one. The Mi Note 4. From Xiaomi, which is a Chinese company, Xiaomi. And I believe that is it's only 5.5 inches.
Well, I've got a Nexus 7 pad.
Yeah.
On my desk.
That's a good size. That would be wouldn't that be perfect for what you want to do?
Well, no, it's too heavy.
Oh, I get it.
The thing is gigantic. And,
yeah.
And I smartphones are usually a lot lighter than pads are. But in my experience, anyway.
Well, let's see here. The chat room is giving me some suggestions. They say there are the OnePlus 3T, which is a very nice phone from a Chinese company called OnePlus, is 5.5 inches. It's a little bigger than your S5. The Mi Max, I guess that's the one from Xiaomi that's the largest. The Mi Max.
Oh.
So let me see how big that is. Or is it Mix? Max or Mix? Oh, no, it's the Max. Yeah, that looks a lot like, actually, it looks a lot like a Note 7. And these are fairly affordable. They keep the price low. It's a 6.44 inch display. So that's bigger than the Note 7. That's almost as big as your Nexus 7.
Yeah, I'll be darned. Huh?
Yeah, that I would look at that. That is everybody who has these Mi phones loves them.
My problem is I go into my local AT&T.
Oh, they don't carry them. You have to buy them online. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like buying anything online like a phone that I can't look at before.
I completely understand. You might look at so you got to go to AT&T and say, what do you got?
Yeah, exactly. And
I don't think they're going to have anything that big, to be honest.
Maybe I'll wait for that 8 you were talking about that's going to be coming out.
Well, I bet you they don't. Well, you know what? Maybe they will, because they know there's a market for these larger phones. The Note was a hugely successful product line, and I've had every Note. I loved it. I fell in love with the very original Note, and people mocked me for having a 5-inch phone, 5.25-inch phone next to my ear. They thought it was huge. Now it's the going thing. Everybody's got a big phone now.
Yeah.
So I think you might be worth your weight. I think Samsung has got to do something to replace the Note.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling. I appreciate it. You have a unique use, but I think a very sensible use for a large phone. It's kind of part of your dashboard in your plane. Let's not get a Xiaomi phone because apparently there's a back door in it. Okay, thank you. In fact, I remember when the Commerce Department a couple of years ago recommended against a number of Chinese phones, including Xiaomi and I think ZTE, saying, well, these companies are partially owned by the Chinese military and probably not the most private phone ever. I'll tell you what, I'm waiting for Google to do a successor to the Nexus 7 because I loved the Nexus 7. I'm still using one. I have one right in front of me. 8888 Ask Leo. We might have time for one more call, but we're going to take a break now, and when we come back, he's going to be here. Mad Magazine's maddest writer, Dick DeBartolo. We call him the Gizwiz because he loves his gizmos and gadgets. He'll bring the gadget of the week next. Don't forget the website, techguylabs.com. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Oh, it's kind of nice to hear Buddy Holly. Isn't that great? Joining us right now from, we call it Disneyland, the land of 1,000 gadgets. It's Dick DeBartolo, a man's maddest writer, and our Gizwiz. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo, how are you? Are you in the festive season? Is your tree up?
Yeah, I just realized that 1 week from today is Christmas Eve.
Yeah. How did that happen?
What the heck? What the heck? I did get a gift for myself, though. Do you know what I'm wearing right now?
Oh, yes. Oh, your co-host. Someone brought them to New Screensavers last week.
I'm going to stream them right now.
Oh, my
These are the Snapchat spectacles.
Oh, my word.
I know. I am streaming to Snapchat. Actually, I'm not, but I am shooting. This is a crazy gadget. These are sunglasses for $129, although I spent a little bit more. You could go. They're not as cool as yours, I must admit.
Yeah. No, you always have the best things, but then I have some fun stuff, too.
You could go down the road. I think they have a little pop-up stand in New York City where you can buy these from the vending machine. And I can't get to New York City, but somebody sold them on eBay for $200. So it was a little bit of a markup.
Oh my gosh!
But
that's how much they are. Is they $200?
Well, I think they're $130 if you could get them, from the stand. But I figured, giving this guy $70 for his trouble and shipping it out to me, that wasn't such a bad deal. So.
Oh, okay.
And I've been, if you follow me on Snapchat, Leo Laporte, you can see the world through my eyes. But
wow,
the problem is
that's something I want to do.
No, you don't.
I'm tired of seeing it through my eyes.
Yeah. Well, I'll just add this little thing that I just made. I'll just add that right now to my Snap, so everybody can see me looking at Dick. And while I'm doing that, let us find out what Dickie D has for his gadget of the week.
Okay, yeah, gadget of the week is really great. It's from a company called Aukey, Aukey, and it's a little foldable, rechargeable light. And what's neat about it is it folds up to, it's like 6 inches by a half an inch, but it unfolds and it becomes a table lamp. It can be a lamp on a nightstand. It weighs a little more than 9 ounces. You could take it on an airplane with you. It has a little push button that gives you a high and low light.
It's really compact. I mean, it folds
very
up to
compact.
nothing.
Yeah, and it's aluminum. It pretty much stays in any position you put it in. It can actually run off USB if you want, so you can plug it into your computer.
Nice.
And if you have, everybody has a dozen of those little plugs at home that AC to USB, so you can actually just power it from a wall plug. And it's 150 lumens, fine for reading or doing crafts. And if you plug it into the wall, it actually brightens up a little bit above the 150 lumens. And the neat thing is, it's $25 on Amazon. It came in at $30, and I've been tracking it because for the past month, they've not put it back to $30. I checked an hour ago, and it's still $24.99. And Amazon Prime, I got it in 2 days for $24.99.
Really nice.
Yeah, yeah.
You always have such great stuff. Now,
I find
I'm going to give you, because next week is Christmas Eve, and then the following week is New Year's Eve. I'm going to give you a couple of weeks off.
Oh, wow. Okay, very good.
Take the next couple of weeks off. But then you're going to CES. When's the Consumer Electronics Show is next
week? It starts January. I'm flying out on the 4th. I think the show is. Yeah, I know. I know.
They do it right after the holidays, don't they?
They do. For a while, they pushed it back a little bit. It started like on the 6th or 7th, but it's back to 3 days after the New Year's Day. So wow. I'll be looking for stuff.
It's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
No, this year it's Thursday to Sunday.
So you'll be in Vegas the next time we convene on January 7th.
I am flying home. No, I'm flying home that Saturday morning.
Okay.
So I will be here and I'll be saying, hey, Leo. Hey, how are you?
But you will bring us back some truly unusual
stuff that hopefully you never heard of.
Yeah.
You may never want it, but you never heard of it.
Because all the, the mainstream media will go to the big, booths for Samsung and all LG and Sony.
I know.
You don't go there.
I do not go there. I go into the halls where I go, is anybody in here?
Hello? I'm looking for gadgets.
Oh, come in. Oh, is that what a press? Are you a press person?
Oh, I haven't seen one of you the whole time. We're just missing it. No, they go there really because they want to sell them to dealers, right? They're not.
That is correct. Yeah. That is correct. And the funny thing about that is you forget, and you were talking to one of your viewers earlier about, I'll find something at a booth and I go, I've never seen anything like this before. And then I see it 9 other times.
Yeah.
Under
because it's one
names.
Company.
Yes, exactly.
And then they sell it to everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, have a great time. Watch your feet,
because
I know it's challenging to we walk those many miles.
Yeah, 17.2 miles last year on my pedometer.
Wow. Well, thank you, Dickie D. Everybody should go to GizWiz.biz, play the What the Heck Is It contest. Will it be ending at the end of the year?
It will on December 31st at midnight. It's over.
Well, hustle over there and get it. You can play and get a chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. You can also get all the deets on this gadget, the Aukey that Dick just showed, the portable light, or any of the other gadgets he mentioned in this show at gizwiz.biz. Just click the GizWiz Visits the Tech Guy button.
Perfect.
And Dick's podcast is a wonderful show. You must listen to the GizWiz podcast. That is gizwiz.tv.
It is indeed.
Thank you. Happy holidays, Dick.
Hey, the same to you.
Do you have a Christmas tradition? Is there something you do? Or
eat a lot and sleep a lot.
Eat a lot? Me too. I'll be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Except I'll be wearing Snapchat spectacles when I do it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's okay.
You can watch my stomach grow in real time.
I'll be wearing my own audio-visual video glasses, so I don't care. I'm not jealous at all.
Dickie D's one-upped me with his sunglasses.
I have.
But can you send the video to Snapchat? That's the question.
No, I can't.
Thank you, Ricardo. Have a great, happy holidays. And we'll see you in 2017, believe it or not.
Next year.
Okay. So Mike has prepared, right, Michael? You prepared some shows for next week because I think I'm going to take Christmas off. Crazy man, crazy guy, but Mike's going to do that. He's going to do some best ofs for the holiday season. For our podcast listeners, we will also do best ofs from the whole year. And then I'm going to take New Year's Eve off and New Year's Day too. So we'll have some episodes, but I'll be back in the new year. We'll have lots of reporting about CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, where they announce all the new stuff for next year. We'll continue to answer your tech questions, solve your Wi-Fi woes, show you how to wear a virtual reality headset without getting nauseated, and all of the above. That's what we do here. Happy holidays, Mike Cosio, who is our musical director. Thank you for your unmatched efforts this year. Thanks also to Heather Hammond, our phone ranger. She's able-bodied and ready to travel. And she's got, looks like you've got a stormtrooper helmet right behind you. What the what? Careful. Watch out for those stormtroopers. They can get a little grabby, if you know what I mean. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. I'll be back tomorrow if you happen to listen on the Sunday show. But if you don't, have a great holiday. Have a happy new year. And I'll see you in 2017. Have a great geek couple of weeks. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows on the Netcast network. It's called TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. You even get your daily dose of tech news with Tech News Today, and of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.